Hi. Thank you for attending today's reading. Let's begin. Pepsi saved my life when I was run over by a semi-truck. 11 comments. Share. Save. Hide. Report. 99% upvoted. End of story. Next story. PTSD is real. I am not too sure how this works or if anybody will read this. But I need to write about it because I have been having challenges a lot recently. I have PTSD and anxiety because of an event that happened when I was 5 years old. I am 29 years old now. Well, here goes. When I was 5 years old, I was so excited when my baby sister was born. I also had an older sister. But I was ecstatic because I was a big sister now too. My mother gave birth to my beautiful sister. Her name is Elizabeth. The night she was born, my sister and I went to the hospital to meet her. I couldn't wait. I sat on a chair where she was placed into my arms. I looked into her eyes as she looked into mine. I told her that I loved her for the first time out of the womb. That night, I fell asleep next to my mother and baby sister in the hospital bed. My mom was nursing her. I woke up in my bed the next morning. The day my sister and mother came home was one of the best days of my life. Over the next couple of days, I rushed off of the bus excitedly after school to go see my sister. When she was 4 days old, my dad noticed that she was having a harder time breathing than what was normal. He took her to the pediatrician's office where they said she was fine. We gave her a bath that night and all went to bed. The next day, my older sister and I woke up and went to my parents' room to see Elizabeth. Elizabeth was there, lying in her crib, but something was different about her. She was blue. I rushed to wake up my dad and said, "Daddy, wake up. Our baby is blue. What's wrong with her? Daddy? Is she okay?" He jumped out of bed and rushed to her. He screamed, "Call 911," and proceeded to give her CPR. Elizabeth was not responding. The next thing I knew, ambulances and the police showed up. I was rushed to my babysitter's house upstairs from us. We lived in an apartment complex. On my way up the stairs, I fell on the concrete steps. I have a scar from that fall. The babysitter tried distracting my sister and I by turning on Oliver and Company. A while later, we were taken by the police to the hospital. The adults in my family were gathered around. My father and my grandfather took me in a golf cart. The whole ride was silent. My grandfather pulled over and he and my father started bawling. I was so confused. When can I see my baby sister? Daddy and Grandpa? Silence. About 30 seconds later, my dad softly mumbled, "Honey, your baby sister went to heaven. She didn't make it." At that point, I never saw my dad or Grandpa cry. I was automatically devastated. I didn't understand. She was 5 days old. The doctors said she was okay. Turns out that the doctor *ed up. He didn't check her well enough. So many thoughts went through my head. My sister was permanently gone. He killed my sister. So much anger. He could have saved her if he just took time to check her heart. Surgery could have prevented her death. She had aortic coarctation. My parents were under investigation for murder, until the autopsy proved that it was her heart. Other kids came up to me at school just to tell me my parents were baby killers because their parents said so. I literally wanted to die. I hated those kids. Kids can be terrible. Over the next week or so, my whole family came to town to help us put my beautiful sister to rest. I remember everything. Even though I was so young, I was, and still am, absolutely traumatized. I remember every feeling. I remember everybody's devastated facial expressions. I remember wishing it was me and not her. I remember receiving a teddy bear at her memorial. I buried my teddy bear with her. I remember trying to jump into her grave to be buried with her. I felt suicidal at 5 years old. I remember being grabbed by my parents when I tried to jump into her grave. And the feeling of their tears dropping in my hair. My sister and I were diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety. Our baby sister would be 24 years old today. Today, we still struggle. We both have children of our own now. I can't help but to be anxious and nervous all the time, to the point where I feel myself freaking out about something happening to my children. Although they are all healthy, I have flashbacks here and there which suck. Today, I work with children who suffer from serious mental illnesses. Many of them have PTSD and anxiety. I was and still am that kid. I can relate. I would wish this experience on nobody. Not even my worst enemy. As I wrap this story up, I am so sorry for the length. I know that nobody will probably read this. But if you do, thank you. I feel a little better that I was able to type this out because I have held it in for so long. I am screwed up for the rest of my life. I hope I can help my work kids to overcome their PTSD. I am that person. That voice for them that I needed. I will work and do my best to help these kids and anybody else who suffer from these problems. Because I don't want them to feel the way I did starting at 5 years old. Rest in paradise. Our precious little Elizabeth. End of story. Next story. Teacher accidentally pepper sprays class. One day, there was a student that brought a pepper spray that looked like perfume to school. One guy told this to the class teacher and she confiscated it and left it on the teacher's desk. When we change periods, she forgot to take the spray and left it on the table. When the next teacher came, she said there is an odor. Our class is next to toilet. Then she used the perfume and sprayed it all over the class. We tried to stop her but it was too late. We had to evacuate our class that day. End of story. Next story. Paying it forward. And committing a federal crime. It seems like committing federal crimes is okay these days. So I'm okay admitting to one. Here goes. A few weeks ago I committed a federal crime. Accidentally. I swear. I was opening all my snail mail that had piled up that week. And after being opened, discovered that one piece was my neighbor's monthly student debt bill. Current balance wasn't huge. That is, not like medical school sized. He was about halfway through paying it back. According to the sheet, he had never missed a payment. And had, over the years, paid back an amount equivalent to the full amount of the original borrowed principal. But he was only halfway there because of interest, maybe less than halfway. Since interest would still accrue. So, it being Thanksgiving Day, I wrote a check and dropped it in the mail, paying off the entire remaining balance. I've never met this guy. If I ran into him on the street, I wouldn't recognize him. 4 or 5 people live in that house next door. He'll probably be confused. He might track me down as the culprit. He might not. Hopefully someday, he'll pay it forward. End of story. That is all for today. If you want to support my automated channel, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.